Reality. Don't you know? Looks like you give a damn while those around you don't. 51% you have to graduate. Looks like you give a damn, some kind of purity. Oh, all around your soul, don't you know? Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Believe in the one. Now we see. Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We are one. We carry on. Now we see. Oh, let the beat go on. Let the beat go on and on and on. Nice and strong, we go on. Oh, let the beat go on and on and on. While we sing Hare Krishna, oh, we are one. We carry
Hello, welcome to the Buddha of the Basin. Happy Monday, June the 1st. Summer begins. Exploring the Matrix. Chapter 1. Mediating between Gnosticism and Neoplatonism using the Law of One. So in this series, we're going to be exploring the concept of the Matrix. We're juxtaposing materialism, which we're all quite familiar with, fundamentalism, Gnosticism, and Neoplatonism. And the latter two we're going to be explaining in greater depth as we explore these concepts. The mythic key to unlock this door to help us gain entry into this realm is Jacob, Esau, and Isaac's irreversible blessing. Right? In the Genesis story, Jacob steals Esau's blessing by dressing in goat skins and cooking the goats. Rebecca's the one that gives them the advice, tells them to do it, right? All to what? To trick their blind father Isaac, to trick him into giving this powerful blessing, to speaking this blessing, because he's supposed to bless his firstborn son Esau. We know everything was given to the firstborn son, the prodigal son. Even if he went and squandered it, he could go back and be blessed. And to some degree, yeah, that's how much we're all loved. We're all loved as prodigal sons, if you will. But on the other hand, there was some sense that this blessing was given to the firstborn and that the other children would be in some way subservient to the firstborn. That's why Jacob, whose name means supplanter as well as Israel, Isaac actually will say, yeah, your brother Jacob is true to his name. He's supplanted you. He's taken your blessing. So by Rebecca cooks the goats and Jacob disguises his appearance and his smell, if you will, to trick Isaac, and so Isaac bestows this blessing upon Jacob. This is where we get whoever curses you shall be cursed, whoever blesses you shall be blessed, which the silly Zionists have taken to mean Israel, the nation, when no, it referred to Jacob. And of course, it doesn't mean that Jacob's life is just easy after this. Esau wants to kill him. Because Esau is well aware that Jacob has stolen his blessing, his birthright. So when Esau returns, Isaac cannot take the blessing back, weeping that I have blessed him, and indeed he shall be blessed. So what is the matrix mechanism for this? So the metaphysical reality in the ancient world, a blessing or a curse, was not just spoken text. It was a literal quantum packet of coherent intentional energy projected from the speaker's biofield into the field of the recipient. And of course, I argue that's exactly what it is. This is how the healing can take place, the hands-on healing from one human energy field or biofield to another, just by touching the hem of Emmanuel's garment, or by just touching his swaddling clothes when he was a baby. Being close to him, the blessing would leave him. He even had that famous scene where he's like, "Who has touched me?" Because he felt that blessing leave him. He felt that coherent informational exchange between the water molecules in his being, the vibrating water molecules, and the proton spins and the electron spins, all in alignment and entanglement in the biophotonic projections, created this human energy field around him. But the bottom line is the irreversibility. Once that coherent wave pattern is collapsed from the orchestrated collapse, from OR, objective reduction, once it's collapsed into the medium of reality, it cannot be unsent, right? This email, this text can't be unsent. It becomes a localized structural law. This is the ultimate metaphor for how our intention binds itself into the physical matrix. That's the Hara line, Hara, of Barbara Brennan. To the circuitry, from the Hara line to the heart. So my goal is to map this physical cascade. Okay, this blessing or intention comes from the fifth density, if you will. We exist in the third, our material realm. The fourth is the realm of emotion, or living light holograms, the astral realm, where these colors and these feelings reside, where we can really engage with the biofield based upon the chakras. Okay, but the fifth level is the Hara line, which is where our attention is then imprinted onto the fourth density level of emotions and chakras via the water. And then the magnetite crystals will lock in this signal and imprint it and structure it into reality. So again, the Hara line is located in the etheric body as mapped by Barbara Brennan. This laser-like line of light carries your soul's absolute unveiled purpose and intention. Now, heart rate variability is the key. When your emotions shift into appreciation or deep intent, your heart rhythm becomes highly coherent. The heart, containing the strongest electromagnetic field in the body, acts as the primary amplifier. And we have biophotonic DNA transmission. This coherent electromagnetic surge triggers your DNA to release an organized flash of biophoton emissions. This is light. Then we have the magnetite memory. This light flash interacts with your spherical iron oxide magnetite clusters nested in your tissues, which is the topic of our last podcast. The magnetites act as a magnetic tape. This will be on my videotape, right? That Radiohead song. Polarizing instantly to store the emotional orientation of that light. Then we have this blink. I learned about the intentional blink when I was at UL last year in the positive science department during grad school. So the quantum blink, why the water knows first. See, Google was very impressed when I brought this to Google Gemini. Google said, this is my most brilliant insight. That the water processes the signal before we're even consciously aware of it. So modern neuroscience shows that human consciousness does not run in a continuous stream, it blinks. Our attention drops out every few hundred milliseconds, a phenomenon known as the attentional blink, as the brain temporarily stops processing incoming sensory data to update working memory. We use internal mechanisms like the auditory phonological loop, that inner monologue voice, to stitch these fragmented moments together so reality feels seamless. But what happens during that blink when the rational mind goes offline? Well, number one, the water never blinks. The hexagonal liquid crystal water lattice surrounding your microtubules does not sleep. It does not have a working memory limit. It can think of more than 7 things. The preconscious processor, because the water is a fluid quantum computer, it catches the biophotonic flash from your DNA and the magnetic shift in your magnetites instantly. To the holographic print, before the phonological loop can even form the words, I am intending to do this, the hexagonal toroidal vortices in your cellular water have already processed, stored, and harmonized the emotional infusion. So that's like the baseline to where we're going with these chapters 1 and 2. That's the reality of how consciousness works in our body, from the water to the microtubules and the magnetite, then to the conscious stack, the cortical 6-layer hexagonal torus stack, right of our main cerebral processor, with the midbrain and the limbic system connecting to both the right and left hemisphere simultaneously to get that coherent view of reality. So now I want to begin this chapter 1 of mediating between Gnosticism and Neoplatonism using the law of one. So welcome to Exploring the Matrix, right? I'm trying to give you a sense of the deep mystery of how consciousness connects to the external world and how the world's political, financial, just the currents of our world, how they're shaping our consciousness, and how our podcasters, philosophers, intellectuals are using the current situation to sort of give you a worldview. And most of those worldviews are still on materialist, fundamentalist, Gnostic, and Neoplatonic worldviews. So look around the contemporary landscape of podcasters, influencers, and sophisticated philosophers today. You will notice a fierce silent war raging for the sovereignty of your mind. As Alex Jones used to say, there's a war on for your mind. We are constantly being pulled between competing worldviews of how this universe came to be and who or what is ultimately in control. On the one side, on the one hand, you have the fundamentalist view, the claim that God constructed the physical universe, and certainly our earth, in 6 days, 6 literal days. He breathed the breath of life directly into the clay of Adam, and total dominion belongs strictly to an external, monarchical God. On the other side, on the other hand, is the materialist view. Life blindly evolved from entirely inorganic matter. Random chemical reactions accidentally generated memory, consciousness, and the convincing illusion of free will. And total domination, or dominion, belongs to a mechanistic assembly line universe. But let's be fair. Even in the materialist version, a hidden god, a geometer, a demiurge, still seems to be lurking in the math. He is just no longer actively working the machinery. He's still the Aristotelian prime mover. Now, for those of us who have outgrown the rigid boxes of both the mind cave, who's got the whole world in his hands, and cold materialism, the world is evolving based upon the determinism that we'll never comprehend, because there's no deity or angels that give us this message. Anyway, we have blind faith in cold materialism, and we have to be honest. Our current philosophical understanding and our need is bringing us to a grander horizon. And with that in mind, as we leave the Shire, so to speak, we find ourselves standing between the twin towers, the two great mountain peaks of esoteric thought, Gnosticism and Neoplatonism. Mountain one, that's Gnosticism, materiality as a prison, right? This is a prison planet. Neoplatonism, materiality as an emanation, okay? Gnosticism, the demiurge is a captor, a warden. Neoplatonism, the demiurge is a craftsman. Okay, Gnosticism, escape versus secret knowledge, and Neoplatonism, return via geometric harmony. Both of these profound viewpoints stretch back to the dawn of early Christianity. Both arose as radical, sophisticated alternatives to the orthodox dogma and dry atomism. Whether you realize it or not, these two ancient systems form the invisible landscape of the modern spiritual seeker. They shape the unconscious mental map from which most of us live, work, and interpret our daily reality. If you scale the mountain of Gnosticism, the matrix looks like an insatiable prison planet. The creator of this material realm, the demiurge, is a blind adversarial entity who uses reincarnation as a cosmic net to trap eternal souls in a loop of amnesia. If you scale the mountain of Neoplatonism, led by philosophers like Plotinus, the architecture changes. The demiurge is not evil, he is simply a divine craftsman. The material universe is not a prison, it's just the densest outer edge of a beautiful holographic emanation flowing from the one mind. So who is right? Is the matrix a trap to be escaped, or a sacred schoolroom to be mastered? Today we are going to build the bridge across this ancient chasm using the profound metaphysical framework of the law of one alongside cutting-edge quantum biophysics. We are going to unlock the master key. We will explore how your cellular water, your heart's coherence, and the sacred geometry of the seed of life give you the power to overwrite the matrix from the inside out, rendering your spiritual sovereignty completely irreversible. So grab your headphones. Let's explore the matrix. The fundamental flaw of mainstream theology and full materialism is that both assume a closed system. One insists on an immutably perfect static creation. The other insists on a dead accidental assembly line. But when we scale the twin peaks of Gnosticism and Neoplatonism, we realize that the matrix we inhabit is neither a perfectly completed paradise nor a random glitch. It is a dynamic, war-torn cosmic canvas. To understand why the old world structures feel so predatory or predatorial, and why you as a seeker feel a profound sense of cosmic displacement, we have to look at the true history of our solar system through the lens of the law of one, the work of Dolores Cannon, and the hidden fractures of ancient exopolitics. Creation is a living, breathing laboratory of free will. Because the law of one permits both the path of service to others and the path of service to self, the galaxy has become a theater for immense spiritual polarization. We do not live in an unblemished Eden. We live in a reconstruction zone. There's a timeline of solar disruption. Maldek or Phaeton was destroyed by war, which formed the asteroid belt. Mars's atmosphere was ruined by service to self warfare, and Earth became a redemptive sanctuary, a second chance to graduate. Long before human history played out on Earth, the tragedy of spiritual separation played out on neighboring worlds. The annihilation of Maldek. So the raw material details how the inhabitants of the planet Maldek, often called Phaeton in classical myth, became so thoroughly ensnared in the service to self matrix of warfare that they literally obliterated their own planet, leaving behind the scarred and scattered debris we now call the asteroid belt. Now, the displaced souls of Maldek were eventually reincarnated onto Mars. Google is saying that that's not defensively stated, but like Phaeton, Mars did have war, and this war led to the ruin of Mars's atmosphere and the displacement of those souls to Earth. So yes, warfare and advanced weapons destroyed the Martian atmosphere, rendering the planet an inhospitable desert. Doom. So humankind did not arrive on Earth as an accidental evolutionary mutation. Earth was prepared as a sanctuary of redemption, a second chance for traumatized galactic souls to salvage their spiritual evolution. So the rescue mission was orchestrated by Yahweh, a highly evolved positive entity operating under the explicit permission of the Council of Saturn, the governing body of planetary guardians stationed within Earth within Saturn's rings, which is aligned with the galactic logos and, of course, the solar logos. However, because free will is the primal law of the universe, neither the logos or the Council of Saturn actively destroys or eliminates the darkness. Okay, this may be the role of this galactic federation that Elena Denon speaks of, but it's not the role of the Council of Saturn nor the logos. They do not eradicate the Orion group, the highly polarized service to self entity that seeks dominion, elitism, and planetary enslavement. Instead, the Council maintains a galactic quarantine around the Earth. It is a protective energetic barrier, but it's not impenetrable. The Orion group is highly sophisticated. They constantly hunt for energetic loopholes, exploiting moments of human fear, ritual manipulation, and ego-driven calls for power to bypass the guardrails and establish an invisible foothold on Earth. Unfortunately, if you look back at the dark roots of religion, you will see, and this is precisely where the Gnostic viewpoint shines with devastating clarity. When you read the Old Testament accounts in Genesis and Exodus, it is painfully obvious why the ancient Gnostics viewed the deity of those texts with open contempt. The entity demanding blood sacrifices, ordering planetary genocides, exhibiting intense jealousy, and enforcing absolute control is not the one infinite creator. It's not Snowflake. The Gnostics recognize this entity as the blind, predatory demiurge, Yaldabaoth. In the truer historical context of exopolitics, what the Gnostics were actually witnessing was a massive fracture in infiltration within the Anunnaki factions and the subsequent corruption of the Yahweh name by the Orion group forces. Negative service to self extraterrestrials masqueraded as a supreme god, demanding worship and establishing legalistic, fear based religious control mechanisms to farm human energy. Loosh. Sigmund Freud and Karl Marx were right to critique this weaponized form of religion as a tool of psychological subjugation, but they failed to see that the prison bars were built on real cosmic interference. The law of one gracefully untangles these knots. It does not hand weave the dark away as an illusion, nor does it yield to the paranoid Gnostic conclusion that the universe is an inescapable trap. It validates that there is a genuine cosmic struggle occurring, a spiritual battlefield of biblical proportions, mirroring the classic archetypes of Michael versus Lucifer or Yahweh versus Satan. Crucially, the law of one leaves room for the true divine light. It fully honors, like Islam, historical incarnation of Jesus of Nazareth. It also honors Muhammad, explaining that Jesus came, Emmanuel, as a pure, high-density entity of the law of one to anchor the vibration of unconditional love, which is the fourth density, directly into the planetary grid, providing an exit velocity out of the fear-based Orion matrix. Okay, and that Muhammad came to try to bring the planet, at least this Arabian Peninsula, to a recognition that God is one, that the Trinity and the idea of Jesus as the only begotten Son of God is confusing and philosophically incorrect. God is one. We're all part of this one as it steps down through the one mind, this world soul to matter. Matter is made of the one. It's holographically being emanated, and along the way it's shaped by consciousness and intention of the logos and the sublogua down to us. So we have the power to bless and curse. We are all sublogua, little creators in miniature. We're all one infinite creator in that holographic perception. Now, the Orion group just sees themselves as the one infinite creator, and they don't see us as being equal co-creators. The law of one, the service to others, see us all being co-creators. My goal is to look at you and see the creator, look at myself and see the creator, love you as I love myself. But because the Orion group successfully established deep control networks within Earth's financial, political, and religious systems, humanity became spiritually gridlocked. The veil of forgetfulness, which was actually brought in by the logos to help us evolve faster. Our 900-year lifetimes when we were Adam did not actually serve us. They decided, the Council of Saturn and the Logos, to shorten our lives and to give us life lesson reviews after each life, and then a chance to reincarnate to learn and correct those mistakes and get back home. Get back, be perfect as my Father in heaven is perfect. See, Emmanuel spoke about this, but it was all turned into religious nonsense. The truth is, we reincarnate that Earth is a school, but there's also interference. That there's also attempts by the service to self group to ruin Earth, to ruin us, to corrupt us internally, to keep us from evolving as a whole into a fourth density species that's back at one with the universe, back at one with the planet, back in a harmonic with the biofield. So the goal to defeat this Orion group interference was for many of us from other civilizations and star systems to come and incarnate on the Earth. That's the star seed theory. I used to love going eat at star seeds, 30 in Austin, Texas. I think it's 38th and a half Street, right off of I-35. So if it's still there, Lord knows it was there in 2007, 2008, 2009 before I moved. Anywho, we're all star seeds. So because of the law of one rule that, like Star Trek, we can't interfere, higher beings can't interfere with less evolved beings. What happened was the Council of Saturn called for volunteers. So thousands of highly evolved cosmic souls, star seeds like you and me, agreed to drop our memories, compress our frequencies, and then enter an incarnation or a reincarnational cycle into human density. These three waves of volunteers, according to Dolores Cannon, starting right after the atomic bombs were dropped, did not come to fight with weapons. They simply came to exist, to anchor the light. By holding a high frequency, positive vibration within their human bodies, they act as localized anchor points, like the pyramids were, systematically shattering the psychic quarantine and dissolving the Orion grid from the inside out. So if you are a starseed listening to this, you are not a helpless prisoner of a Gnostic demiurge. You are a covert operative of the one infinite creator. The historical trauma of Maldek Mars and the corrupted religious matrices of the past live inside your cellular memory, but they do not define your sovereignty. You have been given the ultimate hardware to combine and command this reality. In Chapter 2, we're going to pivot from the macrocosmic history to your personal biocircuitry. We will lay out the precise architectural instructions on how to use your Hara line intention, your intracellular water lattices, and the flow of Qigong to activate your biological quantum computer, giving you the master keys to exit the matrix while standing firmly on the earth. Om Shanti Om.